a friend who recently came up to me and was like, "Oh my gosh, Flora, I've been meaning to ask you this because I'm at this point right now. What do I do when I'm burned out and I still have to do all the things? Like, what do I do when I'm at my end point and I have kids and I have a husband and I have a job and I just can't quit everything? How do I pull back in this scenario? I need help." And if you're feeling like this, you are also going to love this 5 Minutes with Flora episode because I'm going to tell you the answer next. Hi, everyone. You are listening to Beyond, and I'm your host, Dr. Flora. Listen, life is hard. You don't have to do it alone. As a mindset coach, physician, mom, and an infertility warrior, I have mastered techniques to help move you towards contentment and growth. I can't wait to go along with this crazy ass life journey with you while making sure you feel like your best self. This podcast is meant to have you feel unstuck from your rut and less alone. Let's do this. Hey, Beyond listeners, welcome to 5 Minutes with Flora. We're talking about burnout and one way to deal when you've reached your endpoint. I've been at the point of extreme burnout multiple times in my life. Residency, my infertility journey, working as a full-time physician while launching a coaching business and a podcast, and etc. The best advice came from my therapist. She told me, when you are at your endpoint, where you have minimized everything you can as humanly possible, and the practicality, the logistics of life continue to happen and need your attention, like paying the bills and taking your kids to school and figuring out dinner and showing up to work, you have to start your day by asking this very important question. What percentage of myself am I willing to be at today? What percentage of myself will be good enough today? I hope most of the time you are at 75, 80%, on a really good day, 95% of your capacity. But what happens when you are at 40%? I've reached that. Usually my burnout, and so does Sanjay's, it hits after the holidays. So we go through all the Indian holidays, birthdays in the fall, then Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Sanjay's birthday is at the end of January. And then February, March, it's not quite spring break time. That's when we hit our burnout point. I mean, obviously, we can't take a 2-month break to recoup from our burnout. So what do you do? What do you do when you're good enough looks like 40% of your max? 40%. Let's start with like hygiene. Get out of bed, change out of your pajamas, brush your teeth, eat. I think that's doable, right? Let's move to household and family members. Delegate what you can. I'm serious. Something as small as having your 5-year-old grab a piece of bread and put it in the toaster oven while you toast it for him or her is easy delegation. Lastly, household chores. You may want to skip the dishes. You may not want to make laundry a priority unless you're truly down to 0 clean clothes. Maybe you just don't need to tidy. Maybe the pillows don't need to be whacked. You know, the middle whacking? Is that even a thing? Maybe the bed doesn't need to be made. And of course, you can add on all the remainder of the stuff that you need to deal with the rest of the day, like picking up kids, extracurricular activities, maybe ordering dinner or getting takeout instead of making something. Delegate to your partner what you can. Tell him or her that your bandwidth is low and you will need more help in splitting the daily tasks. It doesn't have to be 50-50. Partnerships are rarely 50-50, right? We give and take depending on schedules and bandwidths. Let go of a little control. That's kind of what 40% looks like to me. Now, before I end this 5 minutes with Flora episode, I really want to highlight major depression. This is a clinical diagnosis made by a physician or a licensed therapist. How do you know if you're clinically depressed, burned out, or both? A very, very, very vulnerable episode is coming to you next week where I'm going to talk about my own journey, and I am going to give you tips so you can also differentiate between the need to reach out for a medical professional or doing burnout prevention techniques. It's important to recognize when there's something more serious going on other than being tired from daily life obligations. So stay tuned for next week. Thank you so much for joining and spending your precious time here with me. As someone who prioritizes her energy, I am so grateful that you chose to spend yours here. To help me help you, please take an extra 30 seconds of your time to rate and review the podcast on your listening platform. For more tips and a behind-the-scenes look into my life, follow me on Instagram at Dr. Flora Sinha. That's Dr. Flora Sinha. Finally, connecting with you truly fills my cup. So DM me on Instagram, email me at florasinhamd@gmail.com, repost if you love this episode. I love hearing from you. I am so grateful for you and cannot wait to be back for the next episode. Bye.